exploring DTE energy programs for 2026. Reviewing the past participation in the energy conservation programs in the state of Michigan, Ralph Bunch Cooperative did notice something that stood out, and we wanted to address that. And we think we have found actually a possible solution to take the apartment style units and make it more inclusive. So when we participate in programs, whether it be the traditional or the multifamily affordable, that we can offer the same type of savings or use factors to everyone. It is important for us to take note that is a time sensitive situation with money. Anytime we're dealing with asking for help or discounts, rebates, any type of savings, it is a first come, first serve. So we need to be mindful of that as we're looking at these programs, that we have to be fast on our feet and we have to work with DTE representatives who do not control these programs. They have to work within the guidelines of the federal and state governments in order to supply the resources. So we need to work within applying and then deciding. And that's going to be very important for whatever options the property may decide to take part in. Going back to mentioning the apartment style units and trying to make them more inclusive in programs, what has come up and may be a wonderful opportunity is an air conditioning split system. These are small contained units that are ventless, and it actually gives the ability to cool down a room or hallway or a smaller apartment style unit in a more compact, less intrusive because of its being ventless. We wouldn't have window units hanging out the window, so they're more secure. But it's potentially something that not only would benefit the people that are actually residing in the unit, but it potentially increase the value for resale purposes of the membership. And thinking of the two style options, the first one is the instant savings. It does not seem like a lot when you look at the chart on that far right hand side, but money's money. And if we can defer the cost for a member if they purchase and they have to purchase from an approved vendor, a split system for their unit or multiple systems in their unit, the savings is there and it's instant. They don't have to wait for it. And it's potentially an instant now and could be utilized for this season coming up fairly quickly. The second option is a rebate program. This type of program actually has got a lot more working parts, and we're still researching on the application process how that would look. It may be where either the cooperative would agree to purchase several split units and then be able to sell them back for the exact cost to the actual member. In this way, being able to participate in the rebate, which hopefully would be larger than the instant savings. But when we have more information on that, we would definitely, share that, because that is part of what the goal is here, is to give the apartments more value. First step for a property is having the assessment done. And by way of doing this, we would tap into DTE's program management system, and they would assign someone to come out and do like they've done in the past and take a look at the property and what we have done in the past and what's available for the future, hopefully for 2026 and 27. Then they would give us this report so we could share that, whether it be through the membership or the board, a committee. It could be several different ways of doing it. So as we would apply for the different programs within the system, then we'd have the assessments done before any decisions were made. But that is the step one for this. Further on the assessment results, what's important to realize is that we do need to apply for the programs because they're time sensitive, and I know we've mentioned that before. And then we'd be required to decide what we want to do. There would be no requirement to fulfill or commit to anything until it was reviewed and the value of the actual product, what the cost would be, and the effect, the long run. Because we want to be able to do things for you that will pay back over a period of time, going into that green energy thought process. So again, we do need to get the approvals, but there would be time to actually go through the assessment itself. Members do not have to wait for management to have the assessment done and to come back with bigger results for items for the entire community. Individual members can participate in the traditional DTE, energy conservation programs where you call and you schedule your own appointment. They come to your home, your unit, and they do an assessment. If you need pipes wrapped, hot water tank wrapped, energy efficient light bulbs. There's usually like a dozen that they give you for free. There's water saver aerators that they would install. And of course, that's going to help everyone because we all know how expensive the water is in Detroit. So there is benefits instant and that you can do as a member to actually reduce your footprint and participate in green energy. And at the same time, you may experience lower energy cost on your monthly bills, lower or no cost out of pocket. So we would definitely give you guys the information so people could jumpstart that and get on the schedule for this year. During the assessment process, there are other larger programs that may be presented or offered, such as solar energy or rooftop ventilation systems. Last year, I think or the prior year, took part into the attic installations. These things would come up, but it really would depend on the availability of funds, how much can actually come back to the property or be rebated back from the property. A lot of these large scale programs require that the property pay the full amount at the time that the actual work is done, and then you wait for the actual rebate. And depending on how much, it could be 10%, it could be 40%, it could be 60%. But we would definitely want to look at that before we make any decisions. But hopefully, they would give us something that maybe look forward to in future years. Well, Ralph Bunch Cooperative's commitment to maintaining and moving forward, keeping costs down, and affordable housing for our members. Here, these are families, and many of you have been here generational wise. This gives us an opportunity to find ways to save a few dollars, participate in that, energy solutions, and then adopt better habits as we move forward. We will reach out to the contact people at DT Energy to get the actual point person assigned to the account and start with that process first. We want to get that application in and get the ball rolling. But we thought that sharing with you what we found out for 2026 could help us move forward and maybe get a committee together or some decisions made, maybe even some feedback as to what you would like to see done. But keep in mind, it's really going to depend on how much you guys are willing to spend because nothing is free unless it's the smaller in-home assessments that are done. But we can find if we just have to keep looking and seeing what each year that they come out with, because sometimes it can fluctuate and it changes, but the dollars do drive the programs. When the money is used up, it's gone. So the early applications actually have a better chance of tapping into any resources. I hope you enjoyed this and will give us some type of feedback, or if you have ideas, you can put it in the Dropbox at the office. You can address something to your board of directors, or we can talk about it at the next open meeting. Thank you.